ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
ॐ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् ॐ Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We are in chapter 17, chapters known as Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga, deals with three types of Shraddha, faith. And so far, we have been talking about three types of austerity. Austerity of the body, austerity of speech, and austerity of the mind. And just to give you a reiteration, reminding you, also hearing the same thing again and again is like taking the same sugar candy again and again. The more you lick, the more you taste, the more flavor is enjoyed, better you are. Service of gods, Brahmins, one's guru, and wise men. The austerity of the body. Your body should be used in this direction. The details, we have done that before. So just to remind you, if you are working in close conjunction with Brahmins don't relate to caste, but if you simply follow the caste and adore a Brahmin, that's perfectly normal. Because there is no need for you to analyze people. Consider everyone is enlightened, as long as you don't start following their teachings. God is in everyone. But again, let me move away from there. Those people who have more experience, more insight, the guru and wise men, allow your body to be utilized in their service. If you do that, you have lots of opportunity for satsanga. And the service, a major aspect of service is spreading the teachings of the Guru, called Jnana Yajna. And in order to teach, your body has to move around. So therefore, it comes under austerity of the body. Next, austerity of speech. Speech which does not cause agitation in others, which is truthful, pleasant and helpful. Satyam vada, priyam vada, navada, satyam apriyam. That's a wise saying. Speak the truth, but don't be hasty. Listen what else is being said. Priyam vada. Figure out if it is pleasing to the ears of the person to whom you are speaking the truth. If it is not, keep quiet. Because what you don't realize, the demon in you is ego. Your ego enjoys talking about philosophy as if you are a great saint. But it has a subtle secret. It's enjoying to see the other degraded. Let's figure that out, what I'm saying. So in the name of truth, when you see your ego being inflated, and the truth doesn't really help the person, then that's not speaking the truth. Literally, yes. but that's not really. The spiritual practice is not a literal practice of instructions. You have to understand them and use your intellect. Truthful, so satyam vada, priyam vada. Na vada satyam apriyam. Don't speak that truth that's going to hurt the feeling of the person. Therefore, you have to develop a special art of understanding. Like a doctor dealing with a patient develops a special talent, a special insight. And repeated study of scriptures. These constitute the austerity of the speech. Study of scripture called Swadhyaya. It includes japa, repeating divine mantra, prayer, talking about spiritual teachings, sharing the teachings with others. Anything that enriches your knowledge. And sometimes your knowledge is more enriched when you are sharing it. When you know inspiring things and keep it secret in your diary. All those inspiring things will not inspire you. In spite of all that, you will be simply perspiring. But when you share and you see how it changes people from being stressful to relaxed, and that gives to your heart a kind of nutrition that food does not provide. I'm not underestimating food. Coming to austerity of the mind, serenity of mind, gentleness, silence, control of senses, and inspired feeling of the heart, the feeling of the heart that being drawn to God within you. These constitute the austerity of the mind. Summarizing this, using Sanskrit words, develop prasanna vritti, a cheerful disposition of your mind. Saumya vritti, not only cheerful, but mind that radiates compassion. A mother shows cheerfulness, but towards the baby, she also radiates a kind of compassion, affection. That's simple tearfulness that cannot describe. So that term is called samyatva. Your face will become like a moon. And every glance of yours is a nectarine rays of the moon. Atmachintan. Allow your mind to get involved with deep understanding, deep inquiry. What is Atman? Who am I? And your daily life should be permeated by samyama. Samyama means disciplining yourself so that you are not flowing towards bhoga, enjoyment of, in other words, worldly pleasures. Eat, drink, be merry. If your mind is focused only on these three mantras, then called bhoga pravaha, the mind is flowing for enjoyment. That must be controlled by your samyama, discipline. Every day requires a discipline. Now we are coming to the present topic, 17th verse. Shraddhaya paraya taptam tapastat trividham narai afalakankshi viryuktai satvikam parichakshate. These three types of austerity, practiced with intense faith, without expectation of any reward, are sattvic or pure in nature. Three types of austerity have been presented to you. But now they are being presented in a specialized way. Involved in practicing austerity, you must understand, is it sattvic? Your attitude is sattvic or rajasic or tamasic. What is sattvic? When you practice your austerity with intense faith, not shaking faith, and without expectation of any reward. If you take it very literally, people get confused. You are doing certain things and you are not supposed to expect any reward. Practicing austerity and you don't expect to succeed in it. I'm joking, but the idea to understand. Real understanding is like the growth of a tree. The tree has its austerity, it stands on its leg, Vrikshasana. Faces all the challenges, but it is not looking for, when will I blossom? It is unshakable faith, it is going to blossom. To learn from the tree. Likewise, sadhana should become as simple, effortless, natural as the growth of a tree. These are ideals. If you fail from it, doesn't matter. But bring that ideal again and again. So if that type of austerity is being practiced by you, austerity that I already described, three types of body, speech, and mind. And behind all that practice, if you have that unshakable trust, faith, that you are not going wrong. You cannot go wrong. You are hungry, you are going to eat. You can't go wrong unless you are eating bad food, tamasic food. To understand further. Faith in you should blend with vivek and jnana. Vivek is subtle, discriminative intellect that shows the difference between right and wrong. So if your faith is dragging you downwards, that type of downgrade movement has to be controlled by your vivek, your discriminative insight. And jnana, what's the goal of your life? You are all that you practice austerity and all types of discipline. It's meant to lead the soul to enlightenment. If you are practicing austerity with that spirit, you will not be shaken even in adversities or challenging circumstances. Rather, when you outgrow the adversity, when you survive the adversity, you find yourself stronger than before. I say it in a poetic language, each time the moon emerges out of a dark cloud, it shines brighter. Now, giving a picture of rajasic austerity, satkaramana pujartham tapodambhena chaivatat kriyate tadiha proktam rajasam charama dhruvam. Austerity that is practiced for the sake of gaining respect, Humorously, I say the philosophy of get on, get honor, get honest. The masses follow that philosophy. To be recognized as honest, everybody likes that. But reaching that state has to be a sincere movement. But to the masses who are not spiritually sensitive, they want to figure out how can I get that honor without going through all these mantras. I will be doing like that. You have to be patient. That's your austerity. In other words, if you do austerity in the right way, you will be recognized and you will have wonderful respect. But if you force yourself to just be recognized, think of having a real flower and how does it bring out its aroma. And think of artificial flower, put scent on it. It is more impressive the moment you come to the artificial flower. But that's not the right thing. It will be called energies. I'm joking. I'm joking, but the idea to understand that that's the difference. Rajasic austerity, you want to fake goodness, humility, fake it. If your head doesn't bow down, do something, put some type of a device. For the sake of gaining respect, honor, and homage, all this, bringing the appreciations, the scriptures have presented demons, and demons in the story have practiced intense austerity to gain their great powers. But the result of all their austerity is inflated ego and inclination towards terroristic activities. And with hypocrisy, there are, just to give you some ridiculous little things. Even in the ashrams, you will find sometimes the person has accumulated a lot of worldly riches in his kutir. Each time when he walks out, he puts on a ragged cloth. People look at him, how simple this man is. And he keeps his ears open. What did you say? That's a Rajasic. You don't work hard to be appreciated. If you are doing sattvic austerity, you are like a flower that sends out fragrance. You don't have to invite the bees. They automatically come to become your fan. Now, listen to tamasic austerity. Moodha grahena atmano yat pideya kriyate tapaha parasyot sadhanartham va tat tamasamudahritam. Austerity which is practiced with dullness and obstinacy, inflicting self-torture and pain in others, is considered tamasic or dull. Let me dramatize this type of austerity. All the stories of demons will give you ample illustrations of this type of austerity. Now, to dramatize, to understand it in practical world, suppose you are a parent, father, mother. You want your child to grow up as a successful person. And you start imposing certain virtuous habit on the child, which you yourself don't practice. And you feel, oh, look, I'm such a spiritual teacher. Train my children in the study of Gita and Upanishads and everything. You figure out what I'm saying. In other words, you are very eager to train others according to your concept of spirituality. And that's behind all terrorism. The terrorists work with that idea that let me be spiritual, religious. How can I be religious? Push people into turning away from their religion by hook or by crook. They are living without religion, they are going to hell. Let me save them. That's the philosophy behind terrorism. And in that movement, they go through terrible austerity. It's not an easy job. Kill yourself in order to kill others. But that's Rakshati, demoniac austerity. Now we are moving away from austerity topic. The topic of dan, charity. Datavyamiti yaddanam diyate nupakarine deshe kale cha patre cha taddanam satvikam smritam. That gift which is given with the spirit of charity without expecting anything in return, with proper consideration given to the time, place and recipient, is sattvic. Gift must be given with the spirit of charity. But the spirit of charity should be real. Your heart must develop a sense of generosity. And act of charity, again, people whenever they think of charity, they start counting money. Your life presents countless opportunities for charity in the smallest little things. In other words, if you are inspiring people near you, or those who come closer to you, if they are sad, you make them glad. If they are full of stress, give them some guidance that releases this stress. That's charity. On the other hand, a person comes and says, look, I did all this. The student comes to before mother or father. Look, all this I did. And I dealt with my examination that most perfectly well. But now I'm dramatizing it. It's very crude. The father or mother were to say, but why didn't you take the food that I put in the tiffin? All that the child is saying to receive a little encouragement is blown away by your reminding the child of some fault. That's not generosity. Though you are dealing with a very close relative, you think you are loving the person. Act of generosity extends even to the pets that you have. How much you understand what you are really doing to ease a life of its Spain, but putting in a more broader way. Humanity degrades itself if there is no act of charity. That gift which is given with the spirit of charity, without expecting anything in return, because the act of charity and the opportunity for charity has given you so much joy, that what else do you want? But when charity is being given for a return, then it becomes a business, a monkey business. You give Christmas gifts and write down all the costs that have been involved. And if they don't give you the same amount of gift, begin to condemn them. That's not charity, that's rajasic charity. Further, in order to give charity, three things are important to keep in view. Desh, Kal, Patra. Desh, place. Kal, time. You have brought something very sweet and delicious. And you awaken the guest in the middle of the night. Example of the Kal, the time. It's not a proper time. Likewise, everything has a proper place. And another point, Patra. The person to whom you are giving the charity, is the person going to be benefited? To give you a crude illustration, a diabetic, and you are giving him a waffle filled with syrup. Because your mind says, this is wonderful. He's my guest. Let me give him. But you are not realizing how much trouble you are putting the person in. Charity is done in many ways. Using material resources, that's called artha, or doing something special for the person, it's called shrama, putting your effort, your labor. Another way, sadbhavana. When you cannot do in any particular way, then you deep down have a blessing, a heart that blesses, and send out prayer. And then there is a common complaint. I want to be charitable, but don't have much. What I have, if I start giving charity, I will become a pauper. To that, Saint Kabira has given a statement. Chidi choch bhar le gayi, nadi na ghatiyo neer. A river flows. A bird puts beak into the river, takes some water, and puts it in the throat of its baby. Now, will the river complain? Will the river go empty because of it? In other words, all your charity that you do is equal to that bird putting a little beak into the water. The resources that you have, they are not going to be exhausted. They are universal resources in every individual. So don't limit yourself with the feeling, oh, I want to be charitable, but I don't have. Yastu pratyupakarartham phalamuddishya va punah diyate cha pariklishtam taddanam rajasam smritam. But an act of charity that is done with expectation of a return, with the hope of a future gain, and with a painful feeling, that's called rajasic. You are afraid of someone in some business dealing, and now you give a big charity to the person. With that subtle plan to change the attitude of your enemy, or to bribe someone, whatever. So that type of charity is not real charity. You are calculating your charity for a future gain. And each time you do, you are doing it with a painful feeling. Adesha kale yaddanam patre vyascha diyate asatkrita mavagyatam tattam samudahritam. That charity which is done in an improper place, at an improper time, to an unworthy person, without respect and with insult, is called tamasic. You have to figure that out, that I don't have to explain. Read the terroristic people, how they come together, they give charity to each other, they show their great love to each other. But behind all that, there is cruel plan. 23rd verse. Also, in this time, tamasic charity, you give to a person charity when he doesn't need it. When he needed it, you don't want to look at the person. Just saying, Ka varsha jab krishi sukhane. You are praying to God, bring rain. I have sowed a field, so many seeds are there, they will all die. And they do die, and then big rain comes in. So what's the use of that big generosity of rain? When what you have sown has become dead. All these colorful sayings, you have to just... And now the chapter concludes with giving insight into the mantra Om Tat Sat. Tasmat imityudaritya yagyadana tapah kriya pravartante vidhanokta satatam brahmavadinam. Tasmat Om Tat Sat. With that utterance of Om Tat Sat, ancient sages, and they performed their actions, their projects. And Vedas and Vedic literature, they all praise this mantra Om Tat Sat. So subtle meanings of Om Tat Sat, we will do it next time. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.